join me in the invocation this morning. Heavenly Father, we're thankful for this day, and Lord, you know that we've been through it as a county, and we pray for all those who've been affected, especially the linemen who steady are working even now in this incredible heat, and even the one that lost his life, Lord. We pray for that family, and we're thankful for him being willing to come and serve our community, and we pray for his family back home, Lord. Father, I do ask you to give those linemen favor and help them to get our electricity restored. For all the people who've been affected, I pray that their homes will be restored quickly. And Father, give us wisdom on things we can do on how to help our neighbors. Thank you, Lord, for all you do for us. Lord, let us not take our eyes off you, even in the midst of these troubles. We do want to honor you in all that we do. We pray in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. Join me in the pledge of the United States flag. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now the Texas flag.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Be seated. We've got a few items here under announcements today. Our first one is a recognition honoring the Harrison County Historical Commission upon receiving the Distinguished Service Award for the 2022 year of service. You guys from the Historical Commission want to come up? This is no small feat. There are a limited number of counties that receive these awards, and it's because of the people here, you guys, and others who are committed to preserving Harrison County history and doing things here that are a blessing to others. I mean, it was otherwise we wouldn't get to enjoy it. So thank y'all for what you've done. Congratulations on the award. Keep up the good work.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you guys.
Yes, sir.
Y'all, any words y'all want to say?
Well, part of this, you gotta be old to be art history. So,
I wasn't going to say that.
well, we've been around enough. Thank y'all very much.
Thank you. Next up is a recognition honoring Sam Houston Elementary Science, Technology, Electronics, and Mathematics. That's the STEM Academy upon winning the Texas A&M AgriLife Extension Healthy Texas Recognized School Award. Those folks from Sam Houston and our Extension office would come up.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I just want to say thank you to the court for you all's continuous support of the county extension office, and a big thank you to Sam Houston Elementary. They allowed Matt and I to come in and do programs, but this year they took it a step further. Not only did we do Learn, Grow, Eat, Grow, the youth gardening program, but we also did Walk Across Texas with all of the students, and that's kindergarten through 8th grade, and they accumulated over 5,000 miles. And the teachers even allowed me to do a nutrition program with them called A Fresh Start to a Healthier You. And so because we've done these programs, they did receive this prestigious award, and I do believe this next coming year they're going to allow us to come back, and we do have a banner. And I presented the teachers, the counselor, and the principal a certificate. We can take a group picture. Matt, you want to have words?
We just appreciate the cooperation with the school and the opportunity to be involved with the young people in the county.
Yeah, and I'm happy to speak for our court. Thank y'all for what you're doing. I mean, you're doing something significant in the lives of our kids, and we appreciate it. I know sometimes it's hard to see the benefits immediately, but they do pay off in the long run. So thank y'all for what you're doing very much. If you guys want to come down here and get a picture, guys, y'all want to step up here a little closer? Come on down, guys. Thank you, guys. Congratulations. You know, even in the midst of what all we're going through right now, we got a lot of troubles in our county, but gosh, we still got some nice things to celebrate, and I'm excited about that. It is not all bad news. This next one is going to be pretty fun for us. We are proud of these guys. This is a proclamation declaring June 19th, 2023 through June the 23rd, 2023 as Harleton Wildcats Week in Harrison County. Guys, it's something special to win district. It's something special to win area and regional, and maybe think about going to the semifinals. A lot of folks get there. Very few get to the finals, and then to do what y'all did is amazing. It's incredible. We are proud of you. I can't tell. I was sitting in my office watching this thing on that NFHS. You guys probably know what it is. Watching you guys play, and man, I was cheering and clapping up there by myself. But I was excited. It was terrific. Congratulations. We couldn't be more proud of you guys. It's your hard work, your coaches, your family. I mean, it takes everybody to make this happen. The community. You guys know how proud Harleton is of y'all. So is Harrison County. We really are grateful. Thank you for what you did. We're excited for you too. You guys come on up and we'll present. Well, hang on. I want to let Commissioner Ebarb, he's your commissioner, speak to you a minute. You can tell I'm excited about this.
You know, I'd just like to say I've lived up in the Harleton area over 45 years. And when you look at the years that went back in '81, I was the coach that took a team down. We didn't get it done. I was down there in '05 to watch them almost get it done, and they didn't get it done. Was back down in '15 to watch. They didn't get it done. I've always been kind of superstitious, so I didn't make a lot of y'all's playoff games, so I was like the judge. I was watching them at my house on the NFHS. I've gone back 3 or 4 times to watch the semifinal games and still get goosebumps and hair on the back of my neck stands up watching it. And there was about 6 people at the house watching it with us, and everybody was saying, pack a bag, pack a bag. I said, oh, no, we can't do that. I said, if I drive to Round Rock tonight to watch them in the championship and they don't get it done, I'm going to blame myself. So I sit at the house and watched y'all. You know, I don't know if y'all really realize what y'all done as a group. Every future young group of boys that comes through Harleton in baseball is going to always be measured against what the 2023 team did and y'all's 37-1 record. I know y'all are loaded with what's coming back. I hope that the younger guys that were a part of this don't think that they can rest on their laurels. Y'all done spoiled the community, so we're looking for big things again next year. But if I can say one thing that that you could take away with you is that there's no telling how many hours that y'all have spent since y'all started playing the game of baseball. How many hours y'all spent since you've been in high school with Coach Beck and your assistants and Coach Hammond. Take that same enthusiasm that y'all showed and portrayed through the whole season and don't let it stop. Take it to the classroom with you, take it to your other sports. We're so proud of y'all as a community and a county, and as an old baseball nut that all my life, it's just, I can't explain it in words what it means to see and watch this young group of men do what y'all have accomplished. I know you got a couple that are moving on. I got to ask one question though. I've heard for a week now that y'all had a player that was pretty superstitious that wore the same pair of socks all year long. Did you put them in the same shoe after every game? That's all I want to know. No. Okay. But I heard heard that after the championship game, you left them in the trash can in Round Rock. Yes, sir. Hey. Again, I appreciate y'all for coming down, and it's an honor for us to be able to honor y'all for this week, for y'all's accomplishment. So, wish y'all the best. Thank y'all.
Somebody's gotta mention that these kids only lost one game. One game all year long.
And that was in extra innings, what it is.
Yeah, that's it. Outstanding.
That is amazing, guys. If you want to come on up here, we got a plaque we'd like to give to you guys. Y'all come on up. One of y'all up front, I'll hold this. Just keep on coming on down.
Some of y'all get a little color in your hair back.
Excellent.
Stand up, Bill.
We'll wait.
DJ, congratulations. Coach, congratulations. Congratulations, guys.
We've got a long agenda today. Y'all are welcome to hang out. It'd be a good civics lesson if you need an extra credit. If you don't, you're welcome to go. Thank you guys for coming today.
Jamie, you have five.
That's gonna be one for our exhibits. This is one for our exhibits, if y'all would. All right. Are there any public comments? Do we have anybody here that want to say anything on anything? I don't have any paperwork, so assuming not. We do have a quorum present today. President and voting Precinct 1 is Commissioner Hatfield. Precinct 2, Commissioner Timmons is absent. Sims is presiding. Precinct 3 is Commissioner Malden, and Precinct 4 is Commissioner Ebarb. It is 9:17 a.m. here on Tuesday, June 20th. 2023. We're here in the historic courtroom in Marshall, Texas. We'll call our meeting to order, and our first item on the agenda is from our auditor. Good morning, Ms. Haynes.
Good morning.
Item number 1 is consideration and approval regarding line item transfers.
Before I start that, I wanted to give credit to our county employees. Our IT department has been on call with us for payroll since Friday. Whenever we needed anything, Dustin was available. Our ladies, the payroll ladies worked yesterday trying to get payroll processed. Anyone that we reached out to returned our phone calls promptly. So I'm greatly appreciative of the elected officials, the department heads, and all of the employees that responded to our inquiry so quickly.
I think anytime you need extra help, you just tell them payroll is involved. They'll make sure to get it done.
Get your attention.
That does get everyone's attention, I will agree with
We're,
you.
we're thankful too. We're
And
thankful.
I'd like to return that thank you to you. I was around you and your group yesterday at Road and Bridge where we was able to set up where y'all would have internet. And I want to thank you and your office for being there
All weekend.
all weekend. Yeah.
So, but we're getting it done. We're still out there because we didn't know what the courthouse would be like after 4 days, and we didn't want to have to put more stress on IT if they were running around trying to address other issues. But we should be back in our office this afternoon.
Well, Mr. Mays is working real hard to get our hands on that generator, so we should be able to get that set up out there where we'll have that office as a go-to with power no matter what, so
Very good.
we're moving forward on it.
Okay, I just wanted to give the compliment to our employees. We're very fortunate to have the elected official employees that we have. With that, the line item transfers, I am requesting transferring $288,677.93. What I'm doing is I'm trying to cover some of the shortfall within the overtime due to the vacant positions and transferring that to the overtime line item so that there's not a shortfall in the line item for overtime. That's why it's somewhat higher than what it has been.
Today, I know that, just going through our weekend, that you guys may need some extra time to look through some of these exhibits, so no rush on any of that, but y'all have any questions, on our line?
Where'd you find that?
Michelle, would you come, you're gonna need to refresh Commissioner Ebar's computer so that he's got those exhibits. They're in there.
Oh, give me a hard cut.
You have to come over and sit by me and you look on my paperwork. Electronics are great until they don't work.
Wrong day. Well, I'm a little bit screwed.
She had to say that out loud.
There it is. Thank you.
So anyway, I'm gonna give y'all a minute to look through. If you have any questions, this is on our line item transfers. When you're ready, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Hatfield, second by Commissioner Malden. Any questions or comments for Ms. Haynes on our line item transfers? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, that passes 4-0. Item number 2 is consideration and approval of payment of regular bills.
I'm requesting payment for $1,220,272.67. There's some of the contract improvements for Road and Bridge, that's in here, that's almost $400,000, which is why the bills are a little bit higher. We have over $100,000 for the appraisal district in this bill pay. So they're just a little bit higher than what we normally see, but all of this, of course, needless to say, was budgeted, so you're not seeing any unbudgeted expenses. It's just the timing of expenses.
So the big dollar amount was some of the road construction
Yes, sir.
contracts?
Yes,
and
sir.
then
It's
is it the annual bill we pay for the appraisal district, or is it?
the quarterly.
Quarterly, okay.
It's a quarterly bill we pay for. Page Road.
Page Road?
So they've made a draw on what they've got. That I paid for.
Is there a motion to approve payment of our regular bills?
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Ebar, second by Commissioner Malden. Any questions, comments? All in favor? Aye. Item 2 passes 4-0. Number 3 is consideration and approval of payroll for June 9th, 2023. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Walden, second by Commissioner Ebarb. Any questions, comments on our payroll? Thank you, Ms. Haynes, for getting all that together. We're
Sure.
grateful. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, that passes 4-0. Item number 4 is presentation of our audit. We're going to hold off on that, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Right now, we would be hearing about our last fiscal year audit by John Manning from Patillo, Brown and Hill. But I'd like for you guys to have more time to review that, and we'll be able to probably schedule them next meeting or something.
I believe it will be the second meeting in July is what
Okay.
we're planning.
All
But
right.
we wanted to be sure that y'all had time to review the audit report before it's presented.
Very good. We're going to defer number 4.
Better check that date. Isn't that one of the weeks that you moved?
The second,
I haven't given him a date.
oh, good.
I just told him it would be the second meeting
We're
in
going to talk
July.
about that date here in a minute.
Yeah, I haven't given him a date.
Okay.
I told him I would follow up with him on a date because I knew we were in the process of potentially moving those.
Very good. Item number 5 is consideration and approval of the business associate agreement with Gabriel Roeder Smith and Company to provide Harrison County a GASB 7475 OPEB actuarial valuation for FY 2023 and FY 2024, and authorization for the county judge to execute said business associate agreement.
This is the annual agreement we have. Every other year, we have a more in-depth valuation for our OPEB trust, and this year's the more in-depth our valuation. So,
And it looked reasonable to you?
yes, sir.
I didn't see any issue. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Ebarb, second by Commissioner Hatfield. Any questions or comments? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, that passes 4-0. Item number 6 is consideration and action to accept, certify new revenue, and approve a budget amendment pursuant to Local Government Code 111.0108 for a donation received by Harrison County in the amount of $185,000 and approve the associated expenditure line item.
This is the donations that we've received for Texas Eastern 911, along with a private citizen. We only budget a nominal amount for donations, so when we get a larger donation like these two, we always have to do a budget amendment.
Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Hatfield, second by Commissioner Malden. Any questions, comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, that passes 4-0. Thank you,
Thank
Ms.
you.
Haynes. Next up, Road and Bridge, Mr. Davis. Good morning.
Good morning, Your Honor, Commissioners. So, everybody's aware of the weather event that we had. We've had crews out working night and day since it's hit. So we've got about 85 to 90% of the roads open. And that's just cutting a hole in it good enough to get traffic through. Of course, when we get them all cleaned up, we will turn around and go back and start cleaning them up. So this is gonna be a long process, of course, months, maybe even years. It's just that bad out there. And we're still trying to juggle our road program. We still have contractors on Old Town Road and contractors on Page Road. We still have Carolyn Bell in process, and we still got Boggy Road in process. So we're just having to do what we can do right now in the situation that we're in. So,
Did the storm slow down our contractors? I'm sure it did.
no, actually,
Not really.
they've been going ahead
Oh,
and
good.
going. So,
Okay.
you know, they want to finish their job and get their money, of course,
Yeah.
you know.
All right.
So we've sent them to Old Town to get the trees up out of the way to be sure nothing does slow them down.
Okay.
And Page Road it didn't get hit, you know. So they should finish up the cement and then actually start priming on Page Road this week. Then they'll go to the seal coating process on them. They'll go back and they'll double chip seal Page Road with a fog seal and double chip seal 5 Notch Road with a fog seal and be done with it.
Mr. Davis, during this storm damage, the wife and I both have rode many a mile. And yesterday, late yesterday afternoon, we made a ride and we went down to Old Town Road. I am very concerned that our ditches are not prepped down there for that road yet. And I know we can't, it's very difficult to go in after we get the road built and go in there without tearing that up. But those ditches, you know, we were delayed a year on that.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
took care of that, did the ditches, put new culverts in. But would you mind, and I hate to, by any means, to stop the production on that, but there are some spots in there, especially around Molly Lane and some of those other places, they're gonna flood.
Yeah, they
Water's
always
gonna
have.
come across that road, and that road's not gonna hold up, and I have waited years and years for that 5.5 mile stretch of road to be done. I'm
Oh, it's
overly
definitely gonna be
concerned
done right.
about it. So would you mind double checking on that for me?
Yes, sir.
I'd very much appreciate it. Let's protect that road as best we can.
We definitely will.
Okay, thank you, Luke.
Hey, well, let me ask you a question, and I think I know the answer, but the rest of us, because I've gotten a ton of calls since, like, last Friday morning about 12:30, as far as trees that we're cutting, anything that has lines tangled in them, we're not touching, correct?
No, that's right. That is our protocol.
Okay, well, I thought it was, but I know that people don't understand that there are a few, like you said, a few roads that are still blocked, but they've got lines tangled in them, and until those companies get to them to untangle and cut those trees out of the lines, that we don't cut, because we don't know if they're live or not.
That's right. You know, and you just take a chance on telling your guys to get in there and mess with something like that. There's always that 1% chance there, and I don't wanna take it.
Well, I just want to make sure that we all, because like I said, I've had numerous calls of people up on my end, you know, because there are a few that still, and that's, I felt like that's what it was. But
Yeah, it's gonna be a slow process, but we're gonna get through it.
I had a question about, we don't go on private property and work, but since we have a disaster declaration, I want you to know if somebody's driveway is blocked, if there's a safety issue, by all means, let's get that cleared up.
Definitely
Probably
will.
have already.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
Just wanted
Of
to make
course, we're
sure.
all in this together and,
Yep, that's
you
right.
know, we'll get through it.
And, go ahead, Commissioner. Also, I know you're working on this, but we're planning to set up a debris, dump where people can dump leaves and limbs and trees at your number 1 pit, which is off of Buck Sherritt on the other side of the airport.
That's right. First driveway before the soccer field
Yep, so
on the west side of the road.
we're hoping to maybe have that ready to go in the afternoon.
This afternoon at lunch.
So
We're
I'm
setting
hesitant
up
about
now.
putting that information out there yet until we got it up and going. Then I'm happy to announce it, but I appreciate you. We're working with the city as well to do that, as they were needing, city residents needed someplace to get rid of their limbs.
Yes, sir, that's right. We are. We're partnering up with the city of Marshall. So we'll have county forces and city forces out there working together.
Yeah,
So there'll be somebody at this site. People
Yes, sir.
Just come up. and-
That's right.
Gotta be.
Gotta be.
Yes, gotta be.
Yes.
the city was gonna provide some men and a backhoe. All of Luke's equipment's out on county roads right now, but they got a backhoe they could bring to help unload and push and pile. Luke had mentioned in the last disaster we had, FEMA wanted us to be able to calculate the size of the debris and would help us cover some costs based on that size, so we're not gonna burn anything
That's
until
correct.
we,
Have a
Just send them
FEMA
over
rep.
on the end of Davidson, because it looked like a war zone.
It's all over. I've never seen it this bad.
And Judge, to my understanding, this cleanup and us extending our, number 1 pit for the debris is gonna be strictly tree debris, no household structure, no wood, no timber,
That is correct.
but it's just strictly gonna be limbs and trees.
So I have asked, get rid of it, to bring us a couple of dumpsters to sit out there, so that if people have household garbage, especially spoiled food, that they got a place to go get rid of that, because you don't want that sitting around a house. So I'm working on
Okay.
that too. But like I said, I'm not really ready to announce all that until we get it done.
Well, we've got plenty of room out there for it.
Good, good.
Yeah, excellent, excellent, yeah.
Anything else on our,
No, sir, that's it. As
Road
far as,
construction or
as far as
disaster
the
relief?
disaster.
all right.
And, we've got 3 new hires, temporaries, and 1 part-time new hire. We've got, 44 full-time employees, so we still have 9 full-time openings.
All right. Well, that does bring us to item number 1, which is consideration and approval of personnel changes for Harrison County Road and Bridge Department. You just heard Mr. Davis's report on his personnel. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Malden, second by Commissioner Ebarb. Any questions or comments? Appreciate all you guys, Luke. I know they have been working daylight and dark.
Yes, we're starting to rotate them out now, so some can get a little rest.
Yeah, very good. Well, let them know we appreciate them. We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, that passes 4-0. Item number 2 is consideration and approval of the utility application submitted to Harrison County Road and Bridge Department as follows. Do we have any?
I don't think we do.
Nope, no, none. It says no applications. That's easy enough.
So they meet the specs.
We'll move on to our Sheriff's Department.
Thank y'all.
Thank you, Luke, very much. You let us know if you need some help with anything. This first item is consideration and approval for Harrison County to enter into a contract with Mobile Communications of America, Motorola Solutions, Inc., to design, build, install, and implement a new 700 to 800 megahertz digital radio communications system linked to the TextWarn system. These guys are gonna have a presentation for us, things you can look at.
Good morning, Judge and Commissioners.
Good morning.
Give me a second to see if I can get this thing working here.
See that page?
And I did, wasn't sure if we were gonna have power, so I went ahead and printed off the proposal for all of you. I'm sure you got it in here.
Okay, good. Y'all have this, very good. Guys, if y'all wanna come down and sit out in the gallery, we can watch and listen, ask questions.
Detecting it. So let's go to displays. This may not work. Oops, not work. It's not gonna work.
All right. Well, maybe that's not gonna work. So, what I'll do is, let's get this pulled up. All right. Well, I want to start off again by thanking everybody, judge and commissioners for being here, everybody else.
This has been a long project we've been working on. We've been working with the county and the city on this, and we also brought in TxDOT as a partner, and we'll kind of speak to that a little bit further down the line. But
Commissioners, y'all might want to come sit over here where you can see this screen. We're not gonna be able to see it on the big screen, so you're gonna have to look on his laptop. I want y'all to be able to see.
yeah, I'm sorry about that. It is in the printout. This is just a kind of a PowerPoint that hits the high points of it. So, we started this project probably about 18 months ago with the county and the city. You know, at that time, there were some radio coverage deficits for basically every department in the county. Along with the city, you know, we went through and figured out where those coverage deficits were, you know, discussed a few options, and ended up, you know, landing on expanding on the regional text warrant system. There's a lack of interoperability within the county and neighboring municipalities and other counties. You know, the city of Marshall and the county, you know, you guys have had a hard time communicating for a while. You know, and this proposed system really fixes that with everybody coming onto the same system. Interoperability is just gonna be, you know, changing the channel and you're talking to them.
So the city of Marshall, they're gonna be switching to the same system.
That
Has
is
that been approved yet in there?
So that is on the agenda for their meeting Thursday night.
Okay.
Yeah.
And city of Longview, Gregg County, Russ County, and Caddo Parish, are they all already on this?
So the city of Longview, Gregg County, the ones that touch y'all, Russ County, city of Henderson, they are all on the system, as well as the the UT Health EMS service has kind of the regional build out. You have the city of Mount Pleasant to the north, and then you have all the entities in Smith County are on the system and have been since 2008. So this is Upshur going to it? There are no plans right now, but we are, I actually met with the ESD president the other day, yesterday, and discussed it with him. You know, we're having some early discussions on it. So, you know, the idea is for the regional system to continue to expand, and that has been happening, you know, in the past couple of years with Gregg County. The city of Kilgore is coming on now. Russ County and the city of Henderson made that move last year, so, you know, there is some more traction with other folks coming on. Panola County is also, you know, we're in discussions with them. The previous administration did not want to make that commitment, so they made just a small upgrade that would get them up to P25 standards, and then their equipment for their dispatch and such is ready to make that move to text warrant if they decide to do that in the future. So. But there is actually already a site in Panola County that is a UT Health site, so there is coverage, and you can kind of see that coming down the line on these maps. So again, primary goal, you know, of this project was to provide countywide coverage for portable radios. So that is the radio that's on the hip. The mobile coverage of the radios that are in the cars, they have better coverage just due to them having higher power and an external antenna. But the primary thing is that portable coverage on the hip. We want to build that out so that you guys aren't having to do the Statue of Liberty out there when they're asking for help. So that's the main thing. Again, talking about interoperability, the system is built on the P25 standard, which is the standard for interoperability across the nation. So that is, the goal of the system is to provide that seamless interoperability, for everybody that's on it. And then also, it's a future-proof investment. This system has been built, for over 20 years now and continues to expand. Like I said, we've had some of the regional entities coming onto the system lately, and then even coming down from the state level more recently. You're going to see more state funding go towards building out these regional systems. So we expect that it, continues to further expand, and they actually tie the regional systems together and have what's called a system of systems across the state that is gonna provide that interoperability no matter where you are. So, this is what TexWARN is. It is the Texas Wide Area Radio Network. It is a regional system that stretches basically from Harris County north all the way to Mount Pleasant with multiple sites in between. There's dozens of sites basically from Harris County north. This is kind of a good regional look at it with mobile coverage. You can see from Kaufman County all the way over to Panola County. There's the site up in Titus County up here, which is Mount Pleasant, Gilmer. Russ County's got coverage. There's 4 sites now in Gregg County, 7 sites in Smith County. And as you go south, that coverage is built out for UT EMS coverage. So there's a single site in all these counties as you start going further south. And we expect, like DETCOG has done, they're starting to build out their coverage south of y'all as well. So south of Panola County, Nacogdoches, that whole region, that DETCOG region is starting to build out coverage. So as you guys go south, that kind of eastern over towards Louisiana hasn't been built out. That corridor, really that 69 corridor is starting to be filled in. So as you guys go south, you'll have coverage all the way down to the coast. And this
Like the northern part of the county.
the northern part of the county?
Southern part.
Yeah, so that's what, we get a little bit of bleed over from the site in Upshur County. And we're actually talking with Gregg County about putting another site up in the northern end of their county. So I think it's a discussion, to further build out coverage, maybe some partnership opportunity with them to do that. I know, like I said, TxDOT is interested in continuing to expand, the system. So, the northern part of the county, there are definitely some spots, and I'll get to the maps, but we can kind of go ahead and get down there. We do have, some spots in the county that with portable coverage, on the sites within the county, there are definitely some spots we need to look at, or opportunities for expansion. But if you see on the map, the green is what fills in from existing sites within Gregg County, within Upshur County, within Panola County, as well as Russ County. So if we get to mobile coverage, this is really where we get that countywide coverage. You can see we have a spot up there in the northwest corner, but when you add in that layer from the sites in Gregg County, Upshur County, that fills in and gives you that coverage.
Those are all automated. We don't have to try to hit a tower in Upshur County to do that. When they key up, it's going to be.
You don't even think about it, you push the button and it goes. Yeah, so the system does all that on the back end. The system actually decides which site provides the best coverage when that button's pushed. It's just seamless, automatic.
So the towers up on the northwestern side is not Upshur County's, they're the UT.
It is a UT tower. Yeah. And I actually met with them the other day. They just won the contract to provide EMS coverage in Panola County. During that discussion, they brought up that they will probably be transporting up into the city of Marshall. So they would like to sit down with you guys and talk about, that partnership with you guys to them be able to use your towers, y'all be able to use theirs. So, yeah, that's something, we need to sit down with them. But they're, looking to partner with other entities, so.
What kind of effect is this gonna have? I've been involved with this since January the 2nd of 2014. When Sheriff McCool came and talked to me and said, somebody's gonna die if we don't get something out of these radios. And immediately we started with the tower at Iron Ore Hill. My concern is a lot of times we have foot pursuits, we have missing persons, and these deputies get out and they're a away from their car.
Sure.
Is this gonna help them with being able to talk once they're out of that range to where they're at their car? What's that gonna do?
So, you know, just by speaking with the sheriff and his, you know, folks in his department, this is absolutely an improvement on the coverage that they already have. So this will improve on the coverage they have now. And then we only expect that to get better as time goes and more counties come on. And, you know, if Marion County was able to come on, that would provide more coverage from the north. And these maps are, you know, typically conservative in what we show. This is round trip coverage is what these maps show. So it's not just what you're gonna hear from dispatch, it's also what that handheld, you know, how far it can talk back to dispatch. So that's what that round trip coverage is, and it's, you know, 95% is what we base these maps on. So 95 out of 100 times, this is what your coverage is gonna look like. In real world testing, you know, we may be even able to improve on that, so.
So this map you're showing is what the handhelds, the portables will do. So just, that's 95% of the time they work. So in the white areas where it shows, looks like it's uncovered, no coverage, but that just may be 90%. So
Right.
it may work 9 times out of 10.
Right.
Even in those areas right now.
Right.
Thank you.
You bet.
Well, a concern for me is if, you know, if we're trying to improve and have protection for our officers that are gonna get in that foot chase or get in a situation where they need to call for backup, then I have a big problem with saying, well, 95% of the time it's gonna work. You know, I mean, if we're gonna spend this kind of money to upgrade, then to me, why do you stop at X when you need Y in order for it to be? I mean, like William said, that's a big concern that's been. So, you know, it's hard for me to say, okay, well, we're gonna do this, but it's just gonna work 95% of the time.
Right.
So, you know, even if it is 9 out of 10 times, what about that 10th time if somebody's in a bind and it don't work?
So I think my view on this, it puts us in a great position to continue to expand and fill in the gaps as we're able. You're gonna see the price tag here in a little bit, and I'm trying to
I've seen it.
take a bite, as big as we can bite, without busting the bank. So, that was just my thinking, is to get us in a good position where in the next year or two, few years, as we build this thing out, that we're able to, you mentioned Marion County, TxDOT's got a tower site just across the line, I forget the little community just west of Jefferson, that they'd be able to, Berea, they'd be able to put in TxDOT, I know you're gonna get there, TxDOT's very happy to support this as well, and so you're concerned about that northwest corner, and I think TxDOT will be there to help that. And I think you probably will also talk to us about some of these, like down in that southeast corner, the Legion Fields area, where you can add a smaller tower that would help in that immediate area, especially around the schools there.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, and, you know, I think that, you know, we can come in and present a system that's gonna fill every single hole in the county. You know, but I think for, you know, we can make it work, but for budgetary reasons, you know, that's probably not, you know, that's not where we went, but, you know, I think.
That's because I asked them that, Jay, I mean, I think our first quote came in at $7 million. David, go ahead.
Judge, I just wanted to mention, one way that help you fill the gaps on this is by, MCOT can help, the county submit for a CITI grant. We've been doing that for several of the counties, and, the gaps that he's talking about, that's exactly what that grant's designed to
That's right.
help address.
Yep.
So we'd be happy to be part of the team.
Well, and I should have mentioned that you guys have been involved every step of the way, and I appreciate that. And so as we get this part built out, we see those gaps, absolutely, we would appreciate your help.
The concern about, you know, the lacks of coverage, there are other options also that aren't that expensive
That's a good way to look at it.
5%, there are other options when you do find those things that, you know, with the handheld and all the equipment, am I wrong?
No, absolutely, yeah, yeah.
So until you get the spot filled.
Yeah, and one thing you actually brought up, and I don't want to get too far off track, but, you know, you brought up schools. You know, that is a big push from the state right now, as well as in building coverage in schools. And we're actually starting to see a lot of money come down, you know, from the state level directly to the school districts to help with that. So, you know, once we get in, once the system is stood up, we actually go around and do our testing. And part of that can be, you know, walking the schools and figuring out which ones have deficiencies, and you know, we can go in and work on those, so.
So if, and after we approve this today, if we approve it, after we consider it, will y'all reach out to the school districts and say, hey, the county's doing this, we want to make sure that y'all are well covered, so y'all need to be, because they're going through their budget cycle right now,
Right.
like we are.
Right.
And I'd sure like for them to be thinking about, what they can do, whether they need to go after grants or whatever to make sure we fill in the gaps in each one of those areas. Will y'all reach out to them?
Yeah, so I've actually already had discussions with Hallsville ISD and Marshall. But yes, I mean, it is, you know, we can go in there and meet with them and discuss. You know, happy to do that if there's a, you know, opportunity to get everybody together and you know, kind of talk through what the issue is and, you know, what the options are to fix it. You know, that's a good way to do it, but.
Looking at your map, it's gonna be Harleton and Legion Fields that are
Yeah.
most left out.
Yeah,
So those are the two that need to be
Okay.
talked to.
Yeah, and
No,
it is DOA in the Legion Field area.
And I can share you with you their superintendent's contact.
Perfect. Yep, you bet.
But they should be very open, because the state's just passed like 1.8 billion that they're going to filter for the schools for
Yeah, and.
safety concerns.
Exactly,
So,
exactly. So they're hardening, you know, they're hardening the entrances to the schools, hardening the video systems, and then is also part of that is hardening, you know, first responder radio coverage in the buildings, so. So actually talking about some of these sites, we did have TxDOT come in, was it last week or the week before? Gordon Harkey is the basically statewide coordinator for TxDOT's radio systems. So he came in. TxDOT is partnering with the city and county, and he wanted to actually come and drive to the sites and look at them. So we did that. We started the morning going over to the Lee site, which is, you know, the east end of the county, providing coverage on the east end. And then we crossed back over and went to what we're calling the Iron Ore Hill site. Originally, I printed off maps for y'all to have in your hands, since I wasn't sure if we were gonna have power or not, but, originally we were looking at leasing space on a tower on that Iron Ore Hill site. There's actually, four or five towers on the hill. One of them being the counties where your existing equipment is. During our initial site walks last year, we determined that tower would need significant remediation to be able to put anything new on it. Everything would have to be taken off, and then even with the three antennas that would be going up as part of this system, that tower wouldn't actually be able to handle it. So we moved to the Spectracom site and actually looked at leasing space there. During our visit with TxDOT, Dwight actually came up with a brilliant idea of actually deepening that partnership with TxDOT and deeding them some property that the county owns that TxDOT would put a brand new 350-foot self-supporting tower on, and provide space on that tower for the county's radio equipment, as well as space in the shelter. So, Dwight, I don't know if you want to speak to that a little bit more, but yeah. Yeah, so on your map, the county actually owns 5 acres. my red line didn't come out very well, but this is where the county's tower site is. You own the 5 acres around that site. The idea originally, I think, was to, deed the state, they really need like 100 foot by 100 foot. And then they would come in and put that tower in. I think Dwight's had a few more conversations with the landowner there, that might have kind of changed where that might end up being. So,
Let me go ahead and speak to that, because it's changing as we speak. And the reason we suggested, deeding a portion of this property to TxDOT is because, one, they are exempted, from historical, studies, EPA studies. If they own it, they can start building on it tomorrow, whereas if we own it, it may take months to get all that stuff cleared, for construction to start. And as far as, one of you other commissioners may have another opinion, but my estimation is the only reason we even own that 5 acres is just so we can have that antenna. We don't have any other purpose for it. So personally, I wouldn't have a problem with deeding them, 100 by 100 out of that so that they could begin tomorrow. One of the other issues that came up along with this is that during my research on the ownership, as of right now, all we have is a prescriptive easement. We don't have one that's on paper. It's just, this is the way we've been doing it, since day one. And thank goodness we got a good neighbor out there, Mr. Jason Wheat. He's allowed us to traverse in and out of there all we need to. Talked it over with the judge. What I would recommend is, while we're in the process of deeding that property out, let's go ahead and clear up that easement, get one permanently, on paper and recorded. Mr. Wheat is agreeable to that. Another idea that he proposed was that he was kind of excited about the possibility of maybe getting that 5 acres back if he gave us some property up by the road to put the antenna, which suited me, made good sense. We wouldn't have to traverse through his property. Gives him his 5 acres back, puts it back on the tax roll, and we get TxDOT what they need up by the road.
Is it a 5-for-5 swap?
No,
No.
I wouldn't care. Not if we're getting what we need out of the deal. But anyway,
5-for-1. Either that or build a road, Jay. We gotta build a road and I road.
here, well, okay, before we get off all into that, it's probably not gonna happen anyway.
Well, I'm just, I'm thinking what legally.
I think it's gonna happen anyway.
Yeah, it's gonna cause, last discussion I had with Mr. Wheat, it's gonna cause too much disruption to his family, because to do that, TxDOT was gonna need a little bit larger space, because they're gonna need some lay-down space for construction and everything, and we can take care of that on our 5 acres a lot easier. He'll still give us our permanent easement, so that's probably where we're headed right now. Now, our partnership with TxDOT, the reason for their main excitement in partnering up with us was, what's in it for them. And the I-69 corridor that's their ticket. That's what they're interested in. Gordon Harkey and one other guy are responsible for all communications for TxDOT, and they have to have all that in place before they ever start construction on I-69. So he is hot on this trail right now, and this is a prime site, according to him, that would help them with their communication. So they have pretty much have an open wallet right now. Where we are as of right now, they're offering to build the new tower. They're offering to tear down the old tower. They're also offering to pick up one of the most expensive parts of our TxDOT proposal is the maintenance and annual service costs for that hookup.
That's the Tex Warren.
Excuse me, Tex Warren. What did I say, TxDOT? Anyway, they're considering picking up the tab on that.
So, and that's about
Yeah, I've actually got
It's
it.
140,000.
I think so.
160.
Yeah, 183,252 is the life cycle services over the years.
183,000 that TxDOT is willing to pay for us to stay on the system, annual cost. And we were fixing to have to pay $3,000 a month to be on the Spectracom site, and that's going away.
And that was just for the mere space. We would still have to pull electricity in there, we would still have to provide our own generator, and we would still have to run fiber in there. So by the time you do all that, you'd be looking at, I'm guessing, somewhere between $4,000 and $5,000 a month. Well, TxDOT can alleviate that problem. I'm going, that's kind of a no-brainer to me, so.
So in addition, TxDOT has also, they've asked us for something, an interlocal agreement, and for us to kind of maintain the site, spray
Correct.
it, weed eat, whatever, keep the generator refilled, and check on it once a month.
Correct.
Which is easy enough for us.
Yeah.
Sergeant, am I understanding this correctly, that we're gonna keep the 5 acres, we're not gonna be able, that you and I talked late Thursday afternoon, maybe we might be able to do a swap out?
Yeah, matter of fact, Gordon was just texting me just a few seconds ago before I stood up that, they're thinking maybe we just better go back to plan A, stick with the 5 acre tract and not do the swap.
So we're gonna be back into how are we gonna get back there?
Well, that's one of the things that we're gonna take up, and we'll get, surveyed off a permanent easement, which Mr. Wheat is agreeable to doing. Matter of fact, it will help him a lot because he has a lot of trouble with the other, tower owners out there. They just kind of go willy-nilly where they want to. And, he can kind of control them. If we've got a permanent easement, he can kind of make them stay on ours, till they get, of course, when you see what's out there, it only goes so far and then it kind of breaks up into, like 5 different directions, like a covey of quail. But at least he can kind of keep them going on the main path, to get to the back.
So I can't put that burden of building that road on Road and Bridge, I just can't do that. And we've got county roads.
Mhm.
Well, are we gonna be able to outsource that, somebody else help pay for that? But that's gonna be a pretty good little project. There's a lot of deep crevices out there, and it's gonna be a flood issue, so.
Well, and that's the other thing, we're not, we had talked about looking at a new road down the eastern boundary of the property. After looking at the terrain out there, it's too much work, too much
No,
time,
there's
too
no
much
way.
money.
So he's willing to give us an easement on the current road.
On the current road, it'll stay right where it is. The only thing that he's asking us to do is once we get through with all the construction, if it's rutted up any, is just smooth it back out, put him some good SB2, make him a good all-weather road out of it, he'll be happy.
Will Harrison County be the only people still using this tower? And what about the other people that's coming in and crossing this guy's?
Well, there's 3 other towers out there.
Right.
That they have to use, that
Right.
entrance in.
Yeah, they need to share the cost of the road.
Well,
If we own it, we can put a gate on it, we don't have to give a key, do we?
well, that's true.
They've already been accessing it, you can't
Yeah.
restrict their access.
No, we got that.
It'd be more trouble.
Who's responsible for it right now, for maintaining it right now? Who's
So
responsible?
there is
The
no
property
easement.
owner?
It's the property owner.
Yeah.
So the
And
property
it's-
owner would still maintain it?
Well, but it's not fair for him to maintain it for no pay. I mean, he's getting nothing out of it. He's just allowing these tower companies to come through his place. So I think it's a reasonable thing to reach out to the other tower operators and say, hey, we're gonna be fixing up this road. We'd like y'all to chip in. Easy enough.
Okay. Did I miss anything?
I don't think so. Good job.
Questions?
Thank you for your work.
Dwight has worked hard. Thank you, sir. So, yeah, I think we covered everything on the Iron Ore Hill site. Again, the idea of this system is that the city and the county do work together on it, as well as TxDOT coming in and working, and then, the surrounding entities. So, once we get down kind of to the end, we've got the price pages there. we've worked hard to get the pricing, you know, the way, you know, the judge has asked it to look, sharing costs on the prime site for the county, with the city. And then, you can actually see the HGAC as well as the Tex Warren discounts. And I want to speak to one of those discounts, that Tex Warren discount. There is, you know, some urgency in this, and that is just because that Tex Warren contract does expire at the end of this month. So that line item, if we were to, you know, sign after the end of the month, that line discount would go away. But we've worked with the judge on several parts of the contract, basically the milestone payments. We have agreed to, you know, set that first milestone payment back at the end of the design review, which once you sign the contract, then really the Motorola and MCA side really starts moving. And we actually assembled a team that's going to be, you know, the project team for the duration of the project. And the first step in working with the county and city is to do what's called a design review. We actually come down, sit down with the leadership and the county's project team, and say, okay, this is what we have designed now. You know, do any changes need to be made? We need to have a discussion with TxDOT and iron everything out on, you know, on their side, get the ILA in place, all that. Once we actually get all of that done and complete, and the county signs off on the design, you know, that's when that first payment will come due. So it allows us to you know, get that contract pricing, but delay your first payment until we actually have, you know, everything with TxDOT ironed out and all that. So
What percent's the first payment?
what did we end up with? 20, I think 20%.
We've got 3 months in this fiscal year. Do you expect to have that all done by end of September? So that we could expect 20% due in this current fiscal year.
I think so, yeah.
Then a big part of it would be due in our next fiscal year, which I'm gonna need y'all to give me some estimates so we can budget for that.
Sure.
And you were anticipating maybe an 18-month project, which would push it on the final payment into the following
Yeah.
fiscal year.
Yeah, so typically these are 18-month projects, you know, from the design acceptance to, you know, the final sign off after we've done all the coverage testing. So yeah, that second milestone is the big chunky one, but most of that is tied to equipment shipment. So as equipment becomes available and is shipped from the factory, those invoices will start coming in. So it's not that whole chunk of that second milestone. It's as equipment is shipped and delivered. So
So was that 40%?
I think we ended up with 40%.
So you might have if we get 10% in January, 10% in February, it'd be 10, as it comes in, not one big.
Sure.
payment.
Is it when it's on site to be installed or when it's shipped from the manufacturer?
So it is when it's shipped from the manufacturer. And then the other milestones, the third and fourth milestone, that third milestone is when the system is actually built and stood up and we have completion of the system. That is when the third milestone is. And then upon customer acceptance, after we actually do all the testing and you have beneficial use of it, then that's that fourth and final milestone.
That final milestone is 10%.
And this number, the dollar amount we're looking 3.8 million, that includes this 1.3 million for the Spectracom site, which we're not anticipating having to pay any for that because TxDOT's gonna pick that up. Is that right, or is there some charge for our radio equipment that's on that tower?
Yeah, so that 1.3 is your radio equipment that's in that tower. So that 1.3 would be, that's y'all's, and that's what goes in the tower. And then the tower is actually owned by TxDOT. But we do have some line items in, you know, we've got $133,000 in remediation in the project for that Iron Ore Hill site. So with a brand new tower, you know, there's usually not much remediation. It's good, it's ready to go. So
you're expecting to have some savings off of this number already based on
Right.
what TxDOT's helping us with?
exactly.
Off of which number?
3.8 million.
$272,000 in contingency.
And that's what that, 133, that contingency is part of that, so, you know, like I said, that Iron Ore Hill site's gonna be brand new. TxDOT, you know, they're gonna come in and put in a really clean site, and so that 133,000 can be applied elsewhere.
Not sure where you're getting 133, I see 146.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't, yep, I just had it.
Gordon did speak to the lease, and I think he was talking about
Yeah, yeah, so I think, you know, Gordon and TxDOT have said, you know, they're interested in helping with any of that remediation that's needed. So that Lee site's gonna need some, I think that, you know, making sure that we're generators moved back inside the fence and all that will be a little bit, so.
The tower will stay in place, we're working on coax and antennas and stuff up there, and then put it down in a little doghouse.
Commissioner, if I could add real quick, just if the court does move forward today, you know, George kind of mentioned getting moving with the, you know, the meetings thereafter. So we've got a little bit of time after today. We get all of this pricing locked down. You're gonna get project managers assigned from Motorola, from MCA. They'll come and sit down with you and your team, so make sure everybody's comfortable with the design, how things are gonna work, how things will move forward. Sit down with TxDOT, and that team will stay with you throughout the length of this project. So you'll have a single point of contact. If there's problems, questions, concerns, they're there for you, as well as George and myself and Colin. So if you guys have any problems, we're here for you. On top of that, these guys will be there when it comes to talking about the final acceptance, that last piece. That's after we go drive around town with the sheriff, with you guys, if you wanna go and test this thing, and make sure that you're comfortable with the way that it's working, you're comfortable with the way that it's presented, and it's working the way that it's presented, okay? So all of that kind of stuff is there for you guys as we move forward with this, make sure that you're comfortable with everything that you're looking at.
What's the life expectancy of this system?
So, like I said, this system has been stood up, you know, going on 20 years now. Up in this region, you know, UT, ETMC at the time, all the entities in Smith County and Longview came on about '08. So that being said, I mean, it's going to last. Built into, you know, this proposal, and part of those lifecycle services is what's called a software or system upgrade agreement. So every 2 years, any equipment that is part of the system or software that's part of the system that should go end of life or needs an upgrade, that cost is built into those lifecycle services. So it keeps the system up to the same level as the rest of the region. And so every 2 years, you're gonna get those upgrades. So it's not something that just gets put on and doesn't get touched again. That maintenance and upgrades are built into the project.
So we're paying a monthly or quarterly or annual fee, actually TxDOT's
paying.
TxDOT's paying
Yep.
to keep those things upgraded. Won't be, they don't
Exactly.
come back in 2 years and say, oh, you gotta pay for this new upgrade.
Exactly.
It's included.
Exactly.
Well, I know it's TxDOT's responsibilities through year 5, is that not for the life of the equipment or?
Oh, I think they intend to continue every year.
It is, yeah. So TxDOT, you know, in the proposals, we put through year 5, but they, you know, have committed to taking on that SUA, you know, past that. Because they're gonna be using the system as well, right? So,
Well, I guess my biggest question, because in the past, we've been burned on some equipment that we bought, and then 3, 4 years down the road, guess what? It's no longer, up to date. So I guess my question is, radios and the stuff, the handhelds, they're not gonna become obsolete. They should work as long as the system's up and running, or as long as they last.
right. So I'll tell you this. I keep on saying Smith County and Longview. Like I said, they came onto the system in '08. they have made one radio upgrade since then, and that was in the past 2 years because their Motorola radios lasted them that long. So, you know, the radios are gonna last, you know, as long as you're not driving over them with the water truck,
Understand.
they're gonna last a long time.
Well, we don't wanna get caught up. We've been burned several times, and it appears that sometimes we end up getting these good deals because the equipment we're buying is already in the markdown rack. And then all of a sudden, 2 or 3 years later, oh, by the way, the hundreds of thousands of dollars you spent on these poll books, we're not gonna be able to support that anymore. You're gonna have to upgrade.
Sure.
So we just do not wanna get caught up in that.
Sure.
At all.
So I can speak to that. All of the equipment, and really it's the radios in particular that are in the proposal. Those radios, they are not, you know, they have not been into life. That has not been announced. Once that announcement does come, what Motorola does is provides a committed 5 years of support and service on those radios past that announcement date, and then after that, it's best effort. So, if you really look at it, you know, the lifespan of the radios, like I said, we've had Smith County, City of Longview, City of Tyler on their XTS and XTL radios that were, you know, that announcement came in, help me, 2013. So, we actually still are able to get some parts for those radios that are still lingering in those agencies, and fix them, but they did do basically, you know, a forklift upgrade a couple of years ago to get, or over the past 2 years, to get all their radios upgraded.
So we're getting the latest and greatest that Motorola has to offer, is that right?
Right.
That's what we want.
Right.
Well, I think where we've been burned is we buy from a supplier, but the support is an outside contractor or company. It's not directly related to the selling.
Sure.
So, and that's what happened on some poll books, you know, that we bought. And then 2 or 3 years down the road, this company's now defunct, so there's no support for what we get. So,
Sure.
I mean,
So,
that shouldn't happen with y'all because, I mean, Motorola's.
and you're buying from Motorola, right? You're not buying from MCA. MCA's role in this is we are the service provider in East Texas. We are, you know, I'm a sales executive in East Texas, but, you know, all my quotes go directly on Motorola paper. Anything you buy from me is on state contract. You know, you are the end customer. The warranty lies with you. It doesn't lie with me. So, you know, in talking back about our service, you know, in East Texas, we've got 2 full-time P25 techs that service, you know, all of our radio customers, and then we've got kind of a do-it-all guy that actually services all of the UT health sites around East Texas. So, you know, our guys, golly, Friday was nuts. I know it was for you guys. Our guys got called out right when the storms came through, and they were up for, you know, 26 hours, making sure that, you know, Christus EMS and their EMS service had radio coverage. I'll say, of all the sites we service across from Groveton to Mount Pleasant, there were 0 minutes of downtime on the Tex Warren system from Friday to now. So it is a hardened system. We maintain it. Those upgrades get done every 2 years. You know, those sites are checked monthly. It is a hardened system, and we strive for those 5 nines of reliability.
At one point in one of the meetings that I sat in on, it was discussed, there was a statement made that this actually Texas originates out of Harris County.
It does.
And that we as a subscriber to use our system are responsible at a cost of whatever. Who determines that? Harris County or does Motorola? I mean, I can see, I mean, that's kind of like signing an open-end check. You know, we don't know what it's gonna be when they push it out.
Right.
So that's a concern long term.
Right. So, yes, Harris County is the managing partner of the Tex Warren system. Those costs, those life cycle services that TxDOT has taken on,
That's that.
those are the pass-through costs from Harris County for those upgrades. And then you spoke for just a second talking about being like a subscriber to the system. You guys are actually gonna be an owner on the system. There is opportunity for other places where maybe UT Health already has a site for like the city of Henderson to come on as a subscriber, and they would pay UT Health for that service, right? But you guys are an owner on the system, building out your own coverage, so you're not subscribing to anything else. Yeah, so those costs, that's your Tex Warren costs are what TxDOT is taking on.
But as partners, and you talk about the counties that have already built out and have their stuff, as we build ours out, if it's surrounding counties or TxDOT, and when 369 gets established, there's not an opportunity for the county then to sell space on an antenna. I'm gonna assume that we all just share, these towers and the equipment or whatever.
That is typically how it goes, yes. It is just a shared resource among everybody. And really that's,
We're all pretty much into it for the same, as an owner, the same cost is pushed out through
right,
to everybody.
exactly.
And I feel a little bit more confident about this. You know, when we originally started this, we were looking at you guys and two other vendors, radio providers. And then we found out that, if I'm understanding it right, TxDOT said, if you don't do Motorola, we're not gonna support it. Is that pretty much correct? So that's got a little bit of weight to it. That's statewide. I just hate being held hostage on
I understand.
equipment.
Sure, I understand. You know, and, like I mentioned earlier, you know, actually at the TDM conference a couple weeks ago, I think, all the big wigs from the state agencies met, and, you know, some of that directive coming down from the state level is for DPS, TxDOT, Parks and Wildlife, Forest Service, all of them to start thinking about these regional systems instead of having this TxDOT district with this system that can't talk to this neighboring TxDOT district. You know, the state funding coming down is going to be for building out these regional systems. And so I think, you know, TxDOT saying, you know, we can't support anything that's not a Motorola system. You know, that's what they build out, you know, that's what they're comfortable with, and I think you're gonna start seeing more money coming down from the state level, just like we're seeing them being able to take on your life cycle services, put up towers, really expand on these. You know, that's the real benefit of TxDOT, right?
Well, and TxDOT's they're gonna go north up by 369, listening to them in a meeting.
Right.
That we discussed about in that northern part of TxDOT yard in Jefferson, you know, which then will bleed into our western side too.
Right, right. Yeah, I think, you know, TxDOT will probably start, you know, Jefferson's or Marion County's obviously a lot smaller than you guys. One side will probably cover it pretty well. But, you know, kind of like I was talking about, I think you're gonna see where, you know, instead of a county putting a site, you know, further into its interior, you might see TxDOT come along and say, well, hey, let's actually move it out to our easement on this highway that's, you know, closer to the county border, that's gonna bleed over into a couple of counties and provide, you know, benefits for more than just one county, so.
Then Russ County put one down in the Tatum area that's really pushing their boundaries a good bit on that.
Working on that right now. That is, yeah, we're trying to get on the July 5th agenda for the Commissioners Court on that one. Yep.
I will say, I have no students in Smith County and Longview. I've been doing this since 2007. They've had the system since, you said 2008. I know they've had it for a long time. They've been on text for the Smith County and UTMC, UT Tyler, and Longview. Neither one of them have had issues with the radio system. That's just me saying, going this long term with Tex One, those two entities will have the radio system.
We're not getting a commission for that.
You know, like I said, I have no, it doesn't matter to me.
Well, I want to, again, thank you guys. Like I said, this has been a long project, and Dwight's worked really hard. City leadership and Randy Pritchard over on that side have worked really hard, and we've really enjoyed working with y'all on this. Happy to see how this goes. But if y'all have any other questions before we move on, please let us know.
If you go with, because there's 9 ESDs, and I'm sure 3 or 4 of us probably already got the capabilities of what we'll eventually change to, but I know for a fact that some of the smaller ones don't. I think it was talked about in the last one of the meetings I went to, that we as a county would have to continue for, whether it be 2 years or 3 years or whatever, to maintain a system, and that they would eventually have to be gradually swap over their equipment.
Yeah, they're still gonna continue to operate on what they've got, and like the Iron Hill Tower, we've got, fire, service out there, and also road and bridge. So when that new tower goes up and the old one gets ready to come down, all that's just gonna move over with it. So it's not gonna disappear, they'll still have service out of that tower out there. And same way with the rest of them, as they get ready to switch over, it'll be made available to them.
Have they been notified of what, as far as what we're doing? The
Well, I've talked to
ESDs,
Luke as far as road and bridge goes.
What about the
and-
ESDs that are
and,
scattered around?
Well, I haven't really talked to them because it's really not gonna affect them.
But they need to know so they can start planning over the next 2 to 3 years. And what, if it's 18 months to get it built, then we do it for 2 years or 3 years after. We're basically talking about 4 years, 4.5 years. So they need to know that at some point that they need to start realizing that they need to start transitioning over also. Because I know it'll be a big deal for a
That
lot
sounds
of
like a good
small-
fire marshal job.
Okay.
That's why
And
I'm.
They're not even at P25. They're,
Oh, I knew that.
their, equipment, is long time, they're,
So I have spoken with several of them, and several districts have actually started making purchases.
I can tell you which ones they are, because I know which ones got all the money. But I'm concerned about the ones that are rural, like where I live. I was on the ESD board when it originated for 7 or 8 years, so I know what kind of funds they have available. Granted, they got more today, because every year, the last 2 or 3 years, that values have increased just like everybody else. So, but I just wanna make sure that they're aware that this is something that's fixing to happen more than likely, and don't let it jump up and bite you when we quit handling the 2 systems to continue to talk. Because at some point, we can't, as a county, we can't continue to run the 2 systems, because it's gonna do just like, it's gonna break down and never be able to repair. So they need to start looking.
interop options at dispatch, right? Yeah, interop switch.
Yeah, so your dispatches, and this is kind of stepping past it, but your dispatch will have the capability to actually patch your VHF system to the new system. So a VHF radio will be able to, yeah.
You know,
Spent years on disparate systems. They were on VHF, Great County's VHF, and as long as I'm sure they basically use like that. So there is capability to patch. Great County system was getting so old, they had to change.
well, that's what's gonna happen, what we have, now. So, okay.
Let me add one thing, because I know we got still a lot more to do, and we need to move on, but, you can ask these 2 ladies over here, you've heard the word interoperability several times. And that is the key word right now, and it's something we should have been working on years ago. I remember dreaming about a system like this back when I was over at the police department back in the 80s. Instead of all these little piecemeal systems all over the spot that couldn't talk to anything but their own little group, is an interoperable system where everybody can communicate as far and wide as we need to. That's where the future is. One of the reasons that I'm personally kind of in a push to move this forward, and we've talked about this, it's not gonna get any cheaper. it's only gonna get more and more expensive the longer we wait to bite the bullet. And yes, it is expensive to do. But let me give you a perfect example. Talking about your guy in Harlan County doing this, we can't get help. This goes back to an example that I lived through when I was in Afghanistan. Now, nobody on the planet Earth has got a bigger budget than the Department of Defense. And I never will forget a meeting that I sat in with the commanding general over there. His name was George Durbin. And he was raising sand one day because we got 5 branches of the service, and none of the 5, with all the money that they got, can communicate with the other. And I lived through a personal example of that. I was attached to a group of guys from 173rd Airborne, and we had a company going out trying to flush a group of Taliban out of a little community. Well, Taliban picked a perfect spot, and they ambushed that whole company. We were between 2 mountain ridges, and they caught us in a little creek bed, and they had us hemmed up in there where we couldn't do anything. And our communications were dead. We couldn't talk to anybody. But we had one little Air Force sergeant, Air Force, not Army, Air Force, who just happened to bring his portable with him. And where we were close enough that he could talk back to Kandahar Air Base.
Wow.
And he talked to some of his buddies and said, send us help. Buddy, they did. They sent a Harrier up there with a 500-pound bomb, and they dropped it on the side of that mountain range, and it got deadly quiet. But my point is, the federal government can't even do it, and we're looking at doing it right here with local agencies and private enterprise. So it's something we've got to get done, and I hope y'all consider it and try to help push us forward one way or another.
Thanks, sir.
You guys have any other questions?
You believe that?
Thank you, gentlemen.
You bet, thank you.
All right, guys, this brings us back to item number 1 on the Sheriff's Department. This was consideration and approval for the Motorola Solutions design, build, and install this new radio system that's linked to TextWarn. Is there a motion to approve?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Motion by Commissioner Ebarb, second by Commissioner Hatfield. Any other questions or comments? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, that passes 4-0. Item number 2 is consideration and an action subject to ratification in open court, the approval of the purchase and payment for a 2023 landscape trailer from Circle K Trailers in the amount of $12,660 to be used by the Sheriff's Department.
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Ebarb, second by Commissioner Hatfield. Any questions, comments? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, that passes 4-0. Number 3 is consideration and action for the approval of the Thermo Fisher TrueNarc Drug Analyzer Project Resolution for submission of the grant application 485/4001 to the Office of the Governor. Dwight, you want to tell us about that?
Yes, y'all have already approved the application, and we spoke about it in a previous meeting. We did get qualified at a lesser amount. We're only going to be able to apply for one of those, but it's a great tool. We're hoping to put it to work with our task force, and this is just a resolution that's required by the government's the Office of the Governor. It says that we will agree to abide by the rules of the grant.
What do you know the cost of this and the cost to the county?
No cost to the county.
For just one?
Yes, sir, about $16,000. By the time you buy the piece of equipment and then the add-on training and the Well, it's hard to explain, because if you bought the piece of equipment outright, it would cost like $35,000, but that includes permanent use for, whenever you do a scan. We're getting it for about half that price, but what we will do is we will buy packets of scans as we need them. That reduced the price to make it more affordable, and we can buy those scans periodically. I think it's like 250 scans for like a $750 pop. But this will get us started, get us the piece of equipment, training, and a couple of packs of scan permits.
At this price though, that we're getting this one at 16,000 through the grant.
Yes.
The governor's office.
Yes.
If we were to elect to buy a second one, could we get the second one for 16,000, or would we have to pay 35,000?
No, we can buy another one for, it would actually be a little less because we wouldn't have to include the training. We could get a second one for, with the packets, probably for around 14.5, something like that.
Any other questions, comments? Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Hatfield, second by Commissioner Ebarb. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, that passes 4-0. Thank you,
Did
Mr.
my
Mays.
certification assurances not make it? No?
Next up, one busy man, our maintenance department. Good morning, Mr. Thomas.
I was going to talk to y'all just a little bit about some of the issues that we've had. And first of all, as far as the county itself, our buildings, we were very lucky. We have minimal damage. Countywide, it's destroyed. It's pretty upsetting. But the main courthouse, we did have one AC unit that I know of so far. I've got a couple of others I've got to check to see what the issue is, but I've got one that got hit by lightning. I'm going to have to replace it. It's all burned up.
Is it one of the ones that's scheduled to be replaced?
No, sir, it's actually pretty new. It's about 2 years old. It's runs the IT closet up there. Luckily, we have a backup window unit, so. You know, when I got here, what was it, Thursday night, I went up to dispatch, sat with them for a little bit, and, you know, we got several plugs in there, and when we knew that one of them is on the backup generator, never could figure out which one it was. The only way to, you know, test it. It was like 100 degrees in that room.
Like a what?
About 100 degrees in there, at 5 o'clock that Friday morning.
But this is a small unit that went out, not a difficult
That's
thing to
about
replace.
a 3. Now it's about a 3 ton. It's not gonna be.
And you can do it yourself.
I can
you
do it
think.
myself.
There you go.
So.
Is it one that keeps all the servers?
Yes, sir.
that get replaced?
Yes. Now, you know, like I say, we do have a backup, we have in there, so, and it's hooked up to the backup generator.
So you got everything back up going, we're going here, there, annex jail is good.
Yes, that's what we're finna get to, yes.
All right.
Yeah, well, the annex jail came up first. They're all good. A juvenile center, they're still out. And
You have generators out there?
they went and bought a couple of smaller generators to run the freezers and refrigerators and whatever, but they have a bigger generator to run lights. Well, I got called out there to look at it and found a broke belt. Of course, I should have knew there's no belt broke. It was an issue, but it looked in pretty bad shape. So I went to Tractor Supply and bought another one. And of course, getting in there to look at it, the alternator was locked up. So I called the service company. They were trying to have one overnighted. And this was Sunday. We hadn't got it yet.
Before I forget, Sadie, Ms. Kirkland called about Willoughby needing 2 generators, and this was,
They got them.
it was Friday morning,
Yes.
and she went and paid for those out of her pocket, so we'll need to make sure and reimburse her for that.
Yes. Let me see, what else do we have here? Well, our batteries for alarms, our fire alarms went to backup batteries, they all went dead. They're not rechargeable, so I've got to go buy all new batteries for the fire alarms, all that. Had an issue with a jail generator Saturday. Dispatcher called me and said that they thought it was on fire.
This jail generator?
Yes, sir. So they seen smoke. Of course, I was very close. I was just right around the corner, and I pulled around the corner. It had a hole in the fuel filter. and it was misting out diesel. So we got very lucky. That was at like 4 o'clock, and I went down to Napa and was able to get a new one. So we had it shut off maybe 10 minutes.
That's the generator?
Yes, sir. It blowed out quite a bit of fuel, and we had to get floor dry, get it all cleaned up, but we were lucky there.
Good.
And something else I want to do, our dispatch, you know, they never shut down. They was up there working in 90-degree temperatures. I've got to call in to Roger Woods, and we'll see what I can do to at least get their air conditioner, because they're on their own AC unit on the backup generator. They need it bad.
And we gotta have them,
And I-
and they need to be cool.
When I got the alert on my phone the other night about 80 to 100 mile an hour winds, I come up here and went to my office because I knew what was going to happen. As soon as it went down, I went to dispatch up there. And y'all, I worked at the sheriff's office for 17 years. I've never seen them as busy as they was. From the time that hit till they got off at 7 o'clock that morning, them two girls' phones never stopped ringing for 1 second.
I'm sure. I understand that the city's dispatch went out and they came over and sat in with our folks.
Yes.
As well, so I can't imagine how busy it was.
It was very busy. I wanted several times to reach up, grab the phone, and just start taking phone calls, but you know, I'm not, you know, I can't do that for liability purposes.
Will their air conditioners run off the big generator that runs?
I believe it will. I've got, like I said, I'm gonna get Roger up here to look at it.
We're gonna check, see how much amperage is already being pulled.
Well, that's what I'm wanting to check out.
Roger will do.
If it does it, I'm gonna put in for the budget to, let's do something for them.
Yeah.
We've got to get some kind of generator up there for them. Other than that, we talk, Wascom, they've got power back, but they don't have 3-phase power back to the courthouse yet to run the air conditioning. They're supposed to be done by about 3 o'clock today, they tell me. Hallsville, I mean, yes, Wascom's fine, they're up and going. And just, you know, I don't know if anybody's, the sheriff, nobody's here, but I really want to commend him for what the job his dispatcher's done. I mean, I felt really bad for him at times, because it was, you know, it was upsetting to them. I mean, there was, you know, but
I'm sure it's a night they'll never forget.
no way they will.
Yep.
Well, they've done an awesome job.
Yep.
I've seen a lot of that stuff, but not like that. Oh, yeah, you had people, you know, had a man call, wanting to come change the tire. I mean, we're talking at 2 o'clock in the morning, you know. And you got trees down over on power lines, you
He
know.
didn't know who else to call, I guess.
But what I'm saying is, you know, call a record. No dispatchers ain't got time for that. Anyway, that's all I have for now.
Thank you, Brad. I appreciate you and what your guys have done as well. I know
It's
you've been
warm in
busy.
here. I've got guys, we got 3 AC units and 2 of them are down. We're working on it.
We've been warm, this ain't warm. Nothing from our IT group. On to purchasing. Item number 1 is consideration and action to approve the sealed bid specifications for bid number 2023-14 on the Holly Street Drainage Improvements Project, and authorization for publication in the Marshall News Messenger and Longview News Journal, and to be posted on the purchasing department website.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I also wanted to say before we started that I have reached out to TAC. I reached out to them Friday morning, and they are going to be sending someone this week or next to start looking at our buildings in more depth.
Great, thank you.
The bid specifications for Holly Street drainage were provided to us by Kyle Stevens. So based off of his recommendation in the packet we provided.
This is the Craylon subdivision over in Wascom, where they've had numerous complaints about water flooding, water flow. We just need to fix that drainage system. That's what it is.
Yes.
Any other questions, comments? Is there a motion to approve? You got one you want to talk about, Dave?
I'd like to. We done flooded all the gardens out in mine.
Is there a motion to approve?
Motion. And that's in precinct 1, isn't it?
It is. I have a hard time supporting this, and I feel sorry for the people that's having problems with this. But this really goes back to county court in the 1970s that approved adopting this subdivision to gain votes. That's all it was. All it was there's 126 mailboxes in there, and a commissioner's court approved to adopt this subdivision, and it has been a nightmare on Elm Street. This gentleman, it has not been fair to this gentleman that bought this property for when it rains, that his property's flooded.
So to be clear, the roads and all were substandard, they didn't meet our standards.
Right.
But this subdivision was adopted anyway.
It was adopted anyway. It wasn't nothing but back in the days when it was the good old boy system. But I'm gonna vote for it, just simply because Mr. Rhodes has got caught up in a mess that he didn't ask for. But it is, anyway, I'll second the motion.
We have a motion by Commissioner Ebar, a second by Commissioner Hatfield. Any other questions or comments? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, that passes 4-0. Number 2 is consideration and approval of the one-year agreement renewal for FY 2024 pursuant to the original bid number 2022-09 dated December 6, 2022 for right-of-way mowing without litter removal twice a year in fiscal year 2024 in the amount of $117,668.52 between HX Farms, Inc. and Harrison County.
So we're just renewing. They did not change the price.
Hey, is this a twice a year?
Yes.
That's right.
They have agreed to mow twice.
They gonna mow twice for 117 or
Each
117
time.
times each time?
Each
Cause I don't read it like that.
Each time. So it'll be, in the document, you'll see 117,000 per mowing.
Okay, but that's not, I'll make that motion.
Motion by Commissioner Ebar, second by Commissioner Malden. Any other questions, comments? I can just tell you that this has been a blessing. I mean, they've done a terrific job mowing
Yeah,
the right of ways. It's
not heard
looked
any
great.
complaints.
We've not heard any complaints, but we have heard some, way to goes. So, yeah, we're happy about that.
Yeah.
Chance is really easy to work with too. He's a really nice guy.
Good.
I think it's been a good move. I know that there's been, but they won't miss some of those little side ones, hopefully.
Yeah.
It's been a
So
blessing.
they've already mowed twice for us.
3 times.
Is it 3 times?
Did once the first year,
But yes, they did.
oh, this year, that's right.
So in October, they'll come back and cut it right before.
Yeah, that's the second time. But that's gonna be out of this budget year. Did we not budget for 2 mowings in this budget,
Yeah, the first one we did a trial run.
or the first time last year? And they mowed once this year.
So we got another one coming this year
Another one coming
out of this.
But it's gonna be out of this budget year.
Yeah.
He's wanting to do it in October, so it's probably not gonna come out of this month.
Oh, so you
It'll
think
be
it'll be in this, it'll be in the 24 budget cycle?
Yes.
Okay, all right. That'd be fine too. I think
We'll just
October's
move it
fine.
over, okay. And then we're gonna have to budget for 1 time in the next year's budget.
Well, I think we ought to budget for 2
No,
months.
I'm just saying, though, they won't get the second.
So
mower
Luke,
this
it's
year.
gonna be in October and then once in the summer, right?
Still gotta
So
be in
you
our
only
budget to
have
spend it.
2 a year. And then
I'll
they'll start
take care
again next fiscal year.
We've got a motion and a second. Any other questions, comments? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, that passes 4-0. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Next up from our treasurer. Good morning, Ms. Rushing. Item number 1 is consideration and action regarding the approval of the treasurer's monthly report for May 2023 and authorization to publish on the county website pursuant to local government code 114.026.
We began the month of May with $11,654,647.87, with our receipts and our disbursements ending in the month $9,920,185.03, with our investment total $31,227,660.20. Ending balance for the month of May was $41,147,845.23.
Is there a motion to approve our treasurer's monthly report for May 2023?
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Ebar, second by Commissioner Hatfield. Any questions or comments? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, passes 4-0. Item number 2 is consideration and approval of the Harrison County Treasurer's Investment Report for May 2023.
In Texas class, for the month of May, we began the month with $1,085,317.28. Interest earned was $4,798.54. Ending balance with Texas class was $1,090,115.82. Ameriprise, we have invested $3,660,544.38. And with Texas Bank and Trust Wealth Management, we have $26,477,477,000 with a total investment total of $31,227,660.20. In Texas Bank and Trust Money Market, we began the month with $11,071,543.64 and withdrawals of $2 million. The interest earned in this account was $155,564.02. I will like to add, I don't know if I mentioned this before, but that is including the interest that we received from Ameriprise and the Texas Bank and Trust Wealth. We put that into our money market account. So the ending balance with Texas Bank and Trust Money Market was $9,227,107.66. Texas Bank and Trust main account, we earned $1,000, that would be nice, but $1,529.99. So our monthly interest total for the month of May was $161,892.55 and brings us to a yearly interest total of $572,436.84.
Thank you, Ms. Rushing. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Hatfield, second by Commissioner Malden. Any questions or comments? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion passes 4-0. Next item is consideration and approval to accept a donation of $40 from Christina Anderson for the work she did during the November general election and for the court to decide which line item for funds to be deposited in, with the exception of the general fund.
This is a check that we had that's been outstanding and trying to work on clearing the checks. Speaking to Ms. Anderson, she was willing to donate this $40 that she worked for the election office back in November, but since it's considered a payroll check, we need to get that approved. And she was willing to donate that to any of our funds that we have at the courthouse that need it, except general fund. I mean, she's, other than the general fund.
Do you have a recommendation on a line item for the court to consider?
I mean, we always need money in jury, so that would be a good fund to, I mean, it's $40, but
Yep.
it's one we could donate it to. But I'd like for y'all to make that decision.
Is there a motion to approve to donate, to receive this donation of $40 and put it into the jury line item?
Motion approved.
Second. Motion by Commissioner Malden, second by Commissioner Ebar. Any questions, comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, passes 4-0. Next, number 4 is consideration and approval to pay the state comptroller the amount of $34,376.02 for unclaimed property.
Yes, our report is due for, we have to need to get our report in for the unclaimed once a year, and that's due in 1st of July. And we have been working, trying to get balance sheets cleared out, balance sheets that have been carrying totals for a number of years, that outstanding checks hadn't been cleared and so forth. the auditor's office, Ani, has put in some tireless hours on this. I mean, of course, Becky and the rest of the auditor's office and my office. But we have come up with a total of $34,376.02 that we need to write a check, pay the state to clear our books of that. This is money that's, I mean, we've spent trying to find, I mean, we had to do the due diligence, and you have to do a process of things before you can actually send the money to the state, and that has been done now. But as you see there, there's a list of the departments. District clerk, $7,380.12. District attorney's office, $20,817.67. Sheriff's office, $3,840.51. The 4JP accounts is $430. Tax office, $1,907.72. This is all money that we have identified that is ready to go to the state. We have a little bit more in the unclaimed property fund, but it's not time for it to go yet. We have to follow our procedures to get that there.
Very good. Is there a motion to approve?
Ask a question. Why, if this is unclaimed, I mean, where does this money come from? Why we got to send it to the state? If it's been laying dormant and now all of a sudden it's $35,000, I mean, why does the state get it?
Because it's owed to the individuals that we wrote the checks to back at whatever. I mean, this goes back from, yeah.
So this is money due to these individuals, either by claim on a case or the DA's would hot checks, those type things where it's due to an individual that they should be able to.
This just goes into the big
It goes
sheet
into
that
the,
they put out there for unclaimed.
yes, where you can.
Correct.
Okay.
And I will say, these balance sheets go back like a number of years. I think it was like 08, is that correct?
Digging through records for a while, trying to get this cleaned up. That is one of the items that I wanted in my office, is to clean up the old outstanding items so that we have clean balance sheets within each department. There are still a couple of things we have outstanding that we haven't gotten to, but these offices, I mean, we went through each of these, the exceptions are the registries. The registries will get county clerk and district clerk at this time. We will come back and get those, but right now, we're at a good point. Sherry has worked, to get an unclaimed process established. That's been the holdup in prior, administration, is that there was not an established unclaimed property. So now we have a process in place that it will not get built up like this again.
Very good.
And in the registries, I think that's the total of maybe 3,000, thereabout. It's not significant, a total amount, I don't believe, is it?
No, that's what's remaining in unclaimed property account. We haven't done the registries yet.
Yes, that's true, that's correct.
Okay, I just wanted what.
No, it's actually due to these individuals.
Okay.
All right, is there a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Motion by Commissioner Ebar, second by Commissioner Malden. Any other questions or comments? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, passes 5-0. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
On to new business. Number 1 is consideration and action to change the dates for the regularly scheduled meetings of Commissioners Court scheduled on July the 4th and July 18th due to holiday conferences. If you guys have your calendar handy, maybe on your phone, if you look at July, we had talked about moving the 4th of July meeting is our regular scheduled to the 3rd of July. That's what's on our, was published on our list, our scheduled court meeting dates, the 3rd of July. Just want to make sure you guys are okay with that.
So you're moving it to the 3rd or that Friday?
Let's see. So on our, if you look at, you got it pulled up, I see there. Well, but